The performer's tent hung heavy as Emma, Sophie, and Tom exchanged anxious glances. The eerie music from the ghostly performer still echoed faintly in the distance, but the performer itself had vanished into thin air. A deep sense of unease crept through the group as Emma clutched the diary, its embossed cover now bearing strange new symbols. "We know where Jake is," Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The mirror maze. That's where they're keeping him." Tom turned towards the exit of the tent, his flashlight flickering slightly. "Then let's go," he said with determination, though fear edged his words. Sophie followed silently, the weight of the situation pressing down on her. She clutched her lucky charm, hoping it would protect her from the growing dread. They emerged from the performer's tent, the dim glow of the Ferris wheel still visible in the distance. The path ahead, dark and winding, beckoned them deeper into the carnival's cursed heart. As they walked, the ground beneath them crunched with the sound of shattered glass and decaying leaves. Every gust of wind carried with it whispers from unseen entities, reminding them they were never truly alone. "I don't like this," Sophie muttered, eyes darting around the darkened stalls that lined their path. "It feels like something's watching us." Tom nodded, his grip on the camera tightening. "It's this whole place. It's alive in a way, like it's feeding off our fear." The further they ventured, the more twisted the carnival became. Once bright attractions now loomed as sinister structures, their forms distorted by shadow and decay. The familiar smell of rusted metal and damp wood filled the air, mixing with the faint scent of something far more rancid. Finally, they approached it, the mirror maze. Its entrance was framed by crumbling stone arches, worn smooth by time. The sign above, barely legible, read, "House of Reflections." Beneath the archway, broken mirrors were strewn about, their shards glinting menacingly in the sparse light. Emma stood at the entrance, hesitating for just a moment. The carnival had already played tricks on them, but this maze felt like it would be worse. She swallowed hard and glanced back at the others. "Stay close. We can't lose each other in here." The group stepped inside. Immediately, the maze distorted their surroundings, making every path seem identical. Mirrors lined every corridor, some cracked, others whole, all reflecting twisted versions of the friends. Their reflections seemed to shift and change as they walked, moving even when they remained still. "Do you see that?" Sophie whispered, pointing to her reflection. It's not me. It's moving on its own." Tom frowned, holding up his camera to capture the strange phenomenon. His reflection, too, seemed to lag behind, a second too late in copying his movements. "This place is messing with our minds." They moved deeper into the maze, each step more disorienting than the last. The mirrors stretched on endlessly, reflecting their confusion, their fear, and their desperation. Every turn led to another dead end, and the further they went, the more the reflections seemed to change. Some mirrors showed them as they were, while others reflected grotesque, monstrous versions of themselves. Emma kept a firm grip on the diary. She could feel it pulse faintly in her hands, as if it were guiding them. As they turned yet another corner, a familiar image appeared in one of the mirrors, the glass box. Inside, motionless, was Jake. "There he is!" Tom shouted, rushing forward, but the reflection remained just out of reach. "It's another trick," Emma said, holding him back. "We need to think. The mirrors are distorting everything." She flipped open the diary, scanning its pages for any clue. The latest entry, written in a hurried scrawl, read, "To break the glass, you must see through the lie. Only the truth will set you free." "The truth?" Emma murmured, thinking hard. She glanced at the nearest mirror, watching as her reflection wavered. It wasn't real. It couldn't be. "We're not looking for the real mirror," she realized aloud. We're looking for the one that shows us exactly as we are. Sophie and Tom nodded, and together they moved forward with more purpose, ignoring the twisted reflections. They walked, step by step, deeper into the maze, focusing only on what felt real, until finally they found it. A mirror that reflected them perfectly, no distortions or delays. Behind that mirror was the glass box, and inside, Jake. He was unconscious, but alive. Emma reached out, and with a trembling hand, touched the mirror's surface. It shattered. The glass box fell open with a loud crash, and Jake stirred, his eyes fluttering open. Relief washed over the group, but it was short-lived. From deep within the maze, an ominous sound echoed, the low, guttural growl of something coming from them.